amazing Australians and the story of their lives. You're tuned to Lots to Chat About with Rosemary Peterswald.
Hello and welcome, listeners. A while back we welcomed Kate Rule from the Royal Flying Doctor Service. And to continue the theme, I'm delighted to say that my guest today is Lee Schofield, the Chief Operations Officer of Lifeflight. Created by a community of passionate locals, Lifeflight began as a grassroots regional helicopter service. Today, after over 45 years in the air, they lead the way in emergency rescue, protection and retrieval medicine. Though they've been known by different names over the years, CareFlight, RACQ Lifeflight Rescue and Sunshine Coast Helicopter Rescue Service, their commitment to community service has remained the same: to serve communities in their greatest moments of need. Lifeflight employs more than 150 aviation professionals, including pilots, aircrew, engineers and operations staff. Lifeflight Medical Service is the largest employer of pre-hospital emergency care doctors in Australia and employs 180 medical professionals. Welcome, Lee.
Hi, Rosemary. Thanks for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, please tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into Lifeflight and, yes, where you grew up, and then I'll ask you how you got involved in this.
Absolutely. I sort of feel like I've had a few lives, or past lives as I call them. I originally had a sporting background and unrelated to Lifeflight and aviation. Was fortunate enough to participate in the Sydney Olympics, so I feel like I had a sporting journey. Yes, and then qualified as a lawyer and practiced for a few years there. And out of being a lawyer, had never contemplated aviation and found myself living on the other side of the world in Sweden and started working as an in-house counsel at an aircraft leasing company. And as they say, the rest is history. I was bitten by the aviation bug, and that allowed me to find my way back to Australia, including with Alliance Airlines for a decade.
Right.
And then post Alliance Airlines, I wanted to do something different, but within aviation. And
yes.
Lifeflight, incredible organisation, so ticked a lot of those boxes, and have been with Lifeflight now for 2.5 years.
Right. What were you competing in the Olympics?
I played European handball, so a small sport in Australia, large sport in the rest of the world, and
yes.
Gaining has a very, very low profile, but gaining notoriety again in the lead up to Brisbane 2032, as we'll have another team, both men and women.
Oh, really?
We qualify as host nation.
Yes.
Our status internationally is such that we have not qualified for the Olympic Games through the pathway, but
yes.
as one of the fantastic things of hosting a Games is that you get to enter a team in every single sport. So yeah, really looking forward to 2032 and seeing another 15 Australian men and women who get to the honour of representing Australia in handball.
It's going to be very exciting, isn't it, having it here. Lee, so how did you, or when did you decide, I presume, to become a pilot?
I'm actually probably an anomaly that although I'm Chief Operating Officer, I'm not a pilot.
I thought you said in the aviation.
No, a lawyer originally, and
yep.
literally. So I've always become more involved in the operations space. But
yes.
Don't fly myself and don't work on aircraft. As I say to the team, if you see me anywhere near the tools or the cockpit, be very afraid. But
right.
Obviously a massive amount of respect for particularly what the Lifeflight crews do on a daily basis is just incredible.
It is incredible, isn't it? And as I said, I was talking to the Royal Doctors Flying Service as well, which of course has been going for 90 years, whereas you have been going, well, half as long, but
yes.
a long, long time still. Tell us a little bit, the listeners, how Lifeflight came to be. I mean, I believe it had something to do with a Bell Jet Ranger and a big cow and Joe Patelki-Peterson.
Yes, there's a lot of interesting stories. And being 46 years old, Ash van der Velde, who's our CEO and founder, has been involved from day one of the Gold Coast service. So there was I would say that if we look at the modern Lifeflight now, which is incredibly modern and incredibly sophisticated, I love the heritage of it. That
yes.
In terms of chronology, the first service was up in the Sunshine Coast, so the team started there, and closely thereafter there was a Gold Coast operation. Ultimately, they've merged, so we have our DNA in the regions, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, and then we've spread our wings beyond that to Toowoomba, Mount Isa, Bundaberg, and beyond, now being in Singapore. But one of the anecdotes I love is that there's a great photo that is regularly displayed in the office of Ash was one of the original ACO's aircrew officers, being on a job, being winched. It's sort of fantastic. It's a great. I'm a visual guy, so I love that sort of pictorial example of. He was one of the volunteer crew to now being, CEO of the modern Lifeflight and the success story that it is.
And Ashley, we're talking about Ashley Vanderveld. Now, he just recently won the EY Entrepreneur of the Year, didn't he?
He did. I think fantastic recognition. Ash is typically incredibly low profile and likes to deflect to the credit to other staff, but he's really been the glue that's holds the organisation together, and I really thought it was apt that it was an Entrepreneur of the Year award. Some may say, but in a not-for-profit space. Yeah. Yes, absolutely not-for-profit and community service, but it's that entrepreneurial spirit, where Lifelight is where it is today through a lot of very courageous decisions on Ash's part, and also a lot of crystal ball gazing, where there's always naysayers. No, you don't need a bigger helicopter. No, Toowoomba doesn't need a service. Yeah. And Ash has really been the driver of making sure that those things have happened, and absolutely driven by saving lives, which is really resonates with me. What a great mission to have as an entity, but also specifically focused on equality of healthcare to ensure that people in the regions have access to the extent possible to the same level of care that you and I could access here, being in Brisbane CBD. Right.
It sounds as though it was an award well deserved.
Absolutely.
But it was Joe. Was Joe very much behind it, Joe Bajelke, when it first started?
I think he was a big supporter, and there's been. I think one of the great things about Lifelight is that it is apolitical. I would say, Joe was a supporter at the time, and both the major parties now are equally incredible supporters of Lifelight. And have allowed us to grow and supported us. And probably the culmination of all of those collective efforts was April last year when we successfully signed a new 10-year agreement with Queensland Government to be to provide an instrumental part of the healthcare service, along with, and it is a collaborative effort. You mentioned the previous guest from the Royal Flying Doctor Service. It is one of the things I love is it's not a competition. We've all got. No. It is a collaborative effort. It is a network that we're part of to ensure that Queenslanders and beyond have access to life-saving services. I think as someone who lives here, I hope that when and if I need assistance, if I call 000, the service is there, and Lifelight, RFDS, and others, clearly key to providing that service.
Absolutely. I mean, we can call 000 here, close to the hospitals, and an ambulance comes. But if you are right out in the outback, or you don't even have to be out in the outback. It might be just a reasonable way from the hospital. It's wonderful to know that there is a service that can come in to retrieve you and take you to hospital.
Absolutely.
In the last year, Lifeflight announced a new aeromedical hub at Brisbane International Airport with the Queensland Government and, as we were saying before, the Royal Flying Doctor Service, and a new base at Mount Isa. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, we've been busy as much as our key operations are around helicopters and jets. Facilities are key to us being able to provide that service, and that's where there's been some enormous developments in the last year. So. As you said, Brisbane Airport, with the backing of Queensland Government, is building a state-of-the-art aeromedical hub. Hopefully that'll be online late 2027. And aside from the status of it, one of the great things is that we'll all be under one roof. So RFDS, ourselves, Queensland Government Air Wing, and Queensland Ambulance Service will all have a home. So amongst other things, from a patient experience, it means it'll be seamless. No matter if unfortunately you need assistance, no matter who comes to the rescue, then there'll be a central location at Brisbane Airport that people come through. So that's Brisbane. The Brisbane project is exciting. Again, I really love the regional stuff. So we've just completed new build together with Royal Flying Doctors in Mount Isa, so that the building's complete. We're just literally in the next week or so, operations will commence from the new facility, and for us that also means repositioning a new AW139 helicopter. And a lot of people, I wouldn't expect anyone to go, oh wow, what does that mean? But it really is that is the pinnacle of where helicopter aeromedical services at. So that helicopter being positioned in Cloncurry is a real boost for the region in terms of having the asset available. In simple terms, it means twice the speed of response and twice the range. So from Mount Isa, it allows us to get up into the Gulf, further west to the Northern Territory border, and obviously move people into places like Townsville if we need to. So that Mount Isa project is exciting.
Yes.
Now built, finished and about to be commenced operations. And then we're also have commenced construction of a new base at the Sunshine Coast.
Oh, really?
Which is again that'll be completed early next year, and will allow us to house both the new helicopter and also a jet, air ambulance jet at Sunshine Coast should we need to. So lots going on in the facilities space.
It is, but tell me now, why Singapore?
Singapore is it's a location that allows us to spread our reach really. So there's aside from the work we do here in Queensland for the community, there are unfortunately on occasion there are Australians who need to be repatriated back to their home city here. So having an air ambulance jet allows us to bring people back. Can strongly encourage everyone to have excellent travel insurance when they're off abroad.
Yes.
And one of the advantages of that is we do work collaboratively with government and with insurance companies to ensure that people who need to get back to Australia and have a medical condition that would otherwise prohibit them from travelling can get back. So that Singapore base, the jet up there, gives us that broader reach to get people back here.
Do you go to New Guinea at all, Papua New Guinea?
We do on occasion, so that's
some
within
challenging.
the range.
I've lived there in the 1960s, and there's some very challenging airstrips there.
There are. I think PNG rightly has the reputation that if you've successfully been a pilot up there, you can pretty much fly anywhere. You've really earned your stripes.
I worked for Stoll Airlines, which was short takeoff and landing, and we had our honeymoon in Tarpini. Oh, wow. Now, Tarpini, I think, is really one of the most terrifying airstrips, and it's renowned for that. So fascinating. So you go up in all around.
All around in theory, all around the world. The range of the jets means closer to Australia is really our strong point, but we have the capability to repatriate anyone from anywhere in the world if we need to.
That's terrific. Now, over the last, over the last year, you've had an 11% increase in people helped. What does sort of that mean to your organisation? Are you obviously 11 times more busy?
It does. It means busy. I think it's a factor or a combination of a number of factors. One is the capability that we've built, including on the back of the core contract we have with Queensland Government to provide those essential services. It's another driver, of course, is population growth, including in the regions. But for what it means for us, and a metric that I only discovered in the last year that for me really drove home what we do is that the number of people helped really comes to 1 every 62 minutes. So when you think about every hour we're out assisting someone on average, that it surprised even me of how essential we become to the health network.
Right. Lee, can you, when I was talking to the Royal Doctor Flying Service, they obviously fly into very remote properties and stations, and there can be a powdered milk tin out there with a light telling them how to get in. Your operation is equipped to do a similar sort of thing?
Yeah, we do. The work our crew do, I find, again, as a non-pilot, I find incredible. Really extreme stuff, from flying at night, so flying with night vision goggles, conducting winches to rescue people out of very remote locations, even landing in what we call confined spaces. So not unfortunately where people are injured or need recovery from, you don't get to choose. So our pilots and our crew do an incredible job of ensuring that they can get either to or as close as possible to the accident or incident site. I find it very impressive. And then in the last week, probably one that I found interesting, highly technical, a winch off a cargo ship off the coast of off the Sunshine Coast. So when you're thinking, that's remote in another sense.
Yes.
It's not outback, but it's out over the water, and there aren't.
And
there aren't options for RFS to land out there, so that's one where it's a particular niche that our Sunshine Coast and Bundaberg-based crews, that's something that they fairly regularly respond to.
And as I was listening to you talking to Chris, our station manager, a little while ago, I heard about at Mount Isa, you had to rescue somebody up a tree from a crocodile.
Yeah, that was one of our really notable missions, and it was notable for a whole lot of reasons, including that one of our crew, it was his first mission out of training. And they went looking. A couple had not turned up where they should have, so they were reported missing. Vehicle had become stuck in as a result of waters. There were, it sounds dramatic, but there's no non-dramatic way to say it. There were crocodiles literally hunting them. They had dogs with them. And they did help themselves. They scrawled a very large SOS in the dirt on the road, and that allowed and they also importantly stayed close to the vehicle. So they had perched themselves and their dogs up a tree to get away from the crocodiles.
Oh, they got the dogs up a tree too?
Yeah, they did. It's one of those great stories because there was a happy ending for everyone. The
dogs too.
The couple and the dogs and everyone got home safely. But it was one of those missions that attracted a bit of international attention because it's almost Crocodile Dundee-esque.
Absolutely.
What they did, but in a rescue helicopter, and the crew are actually I won't give the full spoiler because they haven't been awarded yet, but they're going to receive an international award for the work they did on that mission.
So they sort of hovered overhead and then lowered themselves down into the tree.
They did land, so it goes to my point about landing in a remote location.
Right. Amongst the crocodiles.
And yes, amongst crocodiles, got everyone out. So, yeah.
Good on them, isn't it? It's absolutely a wonderful story. I'm glad I heard you telling that to Chris. Now, you're listening to Lots to Chat About. I'm Rosemary Peterswald, and my guest today is Lee Schofield, the Chief Operations Officer at Lifeflight. Now, just a little different matter. What career opportunities are there with Lifeflight? I mean, there's a huge variation of roles, aren't there? Doctors, pilots, support staff, etc. So can you sort of tell us a little bit more about that, Lee?
Yeah, there are opportunities. In the aviation space, we do, starting with entry-level positions. One thing I'm passionate about is our engineering apprentices. Anyone who I think has a cursory interest in aviation would be able to quote that there's a global shortage of aircraft engineers, and Lifeflight's been able to stabilise our numbers probably more than most. But one of the ways we've done that is that we've always had an apprentice program, and every year, no matter how financially constrained, we take apprentices. So that's one example of an entry level role and a great career path to ultimately become a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer. We have our not far from where we are here. We have our head office in Edward Street in Brisbane. We have an operations centre there, and we do have again career pathways through the operations centre from many roles, from aviation coordination to rostering, scheduling, and I love when we see some of those staff progress in the organisation. Then probably more notable pilots as pilots and aircrew officers and rescue crew officers.
Yes.
We have a trainee pathway for rescue crew officers ultimately to start. That's a tough job. They're the people who end up in the water, being winched down to assist people. So we obviously invest a lot of training time into teaching those people the skills, and then should they choose to, there's opportunities to progress into an aviation pathway with being an aircrew officer. We've also trained a lot of people through that pathway into being co-pilots and ultimately pilots.
Yes.
Obviously, as I touched on earlier, the work our pilots do, they build an extensive number of hours to get their operational experience before they're out piloting.
Yes.
So there's some of these sort of aviation roles, and then obviously in the medical space, we have a mix of clinicians, both doctors, registrars, and also flight nurses. So our Brisbane base utilises the skills of flight nurses. So it's pretty, and I should touch on paramedics as well. So we pretty much have the full gambit of aviation jobs and medical jobs, and pride ourselves on the training that it's an investment in our good people, and obviously the jobs that they perform. It's just an incredible, literally life-saving service.
You have women pilots?
We at the moment we do have one. So we'd love to have more. It's almost one of those ones where traditionally a lot of the pilots come from a military background. So
really?
Not so many, but there are pathways now. So it's great that that's one area that's opening up.
Yes. Oh, right. I have a grandson at ADFA at the military college, but he's in the Army, not in the Air Force. But back in the old days, going back to New Guinea, a lot of pilots used to go there to get their hours up. But I'm talking back in the 60s and 70s, and they'd come from all around the world. But it sounds as though the career opportunities with you are immense for no matter what you decide you want to go in. Now, I mean, you're not always rescuing, I should say, people from crocodiles. A more recent incident comes to mind where you rescued a woman injured in a horse accident, and your crew stabilised her, then airlifted her to Roma Hospital for further care. And another recent one was when a man was bitten by a snake. So, I mean, you've got all sorts of things, haven't you, that you've got to rescue people from?
Yeah, we do. It's if you look statistically, unfortunately, response to motor vehicle accidents or road accidents is high up on the list.
Yes.
So that's something we'd love to reduce, because that's a terrible shame. Next on the list is probably cardiac issues in the last year, and that really goes to our regional presence. If you have a cardiac issue here in the CBD, an ambulance is very effective and get you to hospital.
Yes.
When you're west of the range, your options are far more limited, and timing is far more critical. So we tend to a lot of those. As you touched on the recent example, outside of Roma, livestock injuries. Fairly common for our Toowoomba and Roma and Cloncurry bases. And yes, we're headed shortly into snake season, so
yes.
we do respond to incidents with a snake bite. Again, when you've come across the wrong side of a snake in a remote location, airlifting is absolutely the appropriate response.
Now, in this case, you dropped the patient off to Roma Hospital. Do you keep in touch with them to sort of see how they fare after that? Or
we do. There's a lot of it's voluntary, and I probably have a philosophical view, and unashamedly one. I've fortunately not had to avail myself of a rescue service. So I think it's a very individual experience. We do have, and in many cases, it's obviously highly traumatic. So that's responses to that can be that people just want to leave it behind them, and they're thankful, but don't want anything more to do with it.
But forever grateful.
But forever grateful, and other people become super passionate about it and want to become more involved, want to tell their story. So we're very respectful of the individual wishes, but we're very fortunate. There are a lot of people who are very willing to share their story and become involved. A lot of them, I love when a number of those people become involved in our regional advisory committees and help us on a volunteer basis with local issues. We just recently had all of our regional advisory committees in Brisbane here for our annual event, where they're all volunteers. As I was fortunate enough to be able to thank them and make the point that I'm fortunate that I get paid to come and work for this great mission, but they're volunteers and doing incredible work for us, being our ambassadors in the regions, giving us advice, raising funds to continue our development and capability. And so a number of the regional advisory committee members have either a family story where they needed Lifeflight's assistance or know someone. So great to see those kind of people involved.
Isn't that wonderful? Well, when we get to the end, we'll let people know how they can contact you. But Lifeflight is basically, if you put that in, it comes up pretty much. Now, I know you don't want to talk too much about this, and we may well get somebody else into, but you've got a wonderful program called First Minutes Matter workshops. So just let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, we do. It's not in my stream of responsibility, but I am passionate about it. I've been fortunate enough to sit in a part of the course to get a sense about it, and really it's allied to everything we're about. That really, if you're talking about positive patient outcomes, aside from what Lifeflight is able to provide with our expertise, one of the key elements is the first responders. So the First Minutes Matter is a training program that we provide to really upskill people in how they act as first responders, that they can make a more positive impact immediately upon being there. So it's I think it's a fantastic program. Our presenters are, I find very inspirational, and I actually found it really practical. Probably like a lot of people, I've sat in some first aid courses and remember some of it. You get a bit rusty, and then if you're faced with an issue, you hope it comes back. I really found the course incredibly practical and gave some essential skills in how you would assist in being a first responder. So
yes.
it's a course that we don't currently have funding for. So we're raising
yes.
money to provide more of those courses, and particularly both here in the city, but again out in the regions
yes.
where I think it's really of enormous value.
It is, where the first moments really, really do matter. But then you've got Twilight with Lifeflight, which you've got at Harvey Bay. Tell us what that's about.
Yeah, we do in each of the regions. They have a number of events. So really, Harvey Bay is a place that our Bundaberg Bay, so it services the Wide Bay, Burnett region. And so the fundraising event up there to contribute
yes.
to Lifeflight. I think Bundaberg recently also had the soiree in the hangar.
All right.
In Toowoomba we have in Toowoomba there's an annual ball which is just an incredible success. It's become got a life of its own.
Yeah.
I think there's a waiting list now for the
really?
Toowoomba event. It's almost longer than the number of people that
wonderful.
attend it. So each of the regions goes to again what I was touched on with the with our regional advisory committees, having people and ambassadors in the region who drive events like the Twilight
yes.
and Harvey Bay is I find it's obviously fantastic working for Lifeflight, and seriously
Sounds
impressive
fun.
and gives people an opportunity to have some fun and raise money for an incredible cause.
Wonderful thing to be able to do two things at once there. Now, you've got the iconic blue and yellow choppers, haven't you, which you describe as more than just aircraft. They are beacons of hope. And I can imagine, honestly, so many people must be so happy to see them just arrive out of the sky when you think, gosh, who's going to come to me?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you're in that hour of need, and
yes.
I think our blue and yellow, we're gradually moving over to more blue than yellow, but stick with those colours because I think they, again, as a relative newcomer, and I say that having been 2.5 years out of 46, I think that's relatively new. I think that blue and yellow is iconic. You touched on it at the beginning. We've had over the course of our history, we've had a few different names.
I was going to say, because RSEQ, of course, was involved for a long time.
They were, and RSEQ were incredible backer at a time where we were building and really needed that funding. You talk about corporate responsibility. Yes. I have a massive amount of respect for the support that they provided over a large number of years. So they were, for a lot of people associate the blue and yellow with RSEQ, and obviously it was CareFlight before that as well. So we've had a lot of names, but they've got blue and yellow. I think is iconic, and
the mission is the same.
Mission is the same. A lot of the people are the same, and passionate about that, saving lives and regional health equality. That has not changed.
And honestly, I mean, really, you've got we've got a massive area, haven't you, that you cover? It could be bushfires, floods, cyclones, disasters affecting people, all walks of life. Could be all at once. I mean, you might have a bushfire inland, a flooded river, and then a coastal cyclone. I mean, you've really got to be on the go, haven't you?
We do. It's very, almost a limitless number of tasks that we can respond to, and that's what we really pride ourselves on is continuing to build our capability so that we can be available no matter what the need is.
Right. Yeah. It's it is an incredible organisation, as are the Royal Flying Doctor Service. Now, we will just touch back now because, unfortunately, we are running out of time. It goes so quickly. People want to help you. They want to volunteer. They want to donate. Do they go directly to your website?
They do. Our lifeflight.org.au. There's a lot of information there, including links. And topically, on Friday, we'll be launching our Christmas appeal. So probably not surprising, given our nature of our operations, that November to January is our busiest time of year,
right?
Responding to all the activities you'd expect Queenslanders to undertake during summer. So for people looking to make a difference during that Christmas period, would absolutely encourage them to go on the website and click through to the links to the Christmas appeal, and we'd be very appreciative.
It is coming into the busy time of the year, as you say, because there can, of course, be huge wind, rain events to tropical cyclones and all that sort of thing. And whether it's out on the water or right inland, you're there, which is absolutely wonderful. So thank you, Lee Schofield, Chief Operations Officer of Lifeflight, for being my guest today. Thank you, Paul, for producing. It's been wonderful, hasn't it?
It's a very, very good interview, and
fascinating.
I've learned a lot about Lifeflight.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. So this has, of course, this program being recorded in the studios of for RPH Brisbane, Reading Radio, for syndication around Australia, and will be available on my YouTube channel, Lots to Chat About, with Rosemary Peterswald. But thank you, Lee, for being my guest.
My pleasure, Rosemary. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Great friends and great chats. That was another Lots to Chat About with Rosemary Peterswald. Stay tuned next week for another amazing chat.